We are going to be talking about high school curriculum. In this video, I want to share with you all of the curriculum that I used with my oldest daughter when she was in high school. That's her freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. Because yes, we graduated her from our homeschool. This is not going to cover every single subject and elective that she took. This is really just the curriculum that we used for her core subjects and some of the electives. A lot of her other electives, I actually created those courses myself, and I will be doing a separate video on that, on what electives she did take and how I created those courses so that you can do that for your child as well. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. All right, let's jump in and get started. For high school, my daughter used really just three curriculums or curricula. I actually looked that up, and curricula is the more academic way to say curriculum in the plural form, and curriculums is the slang. And I'm a homeschool mom who uses the slang, so I'm just going to say curriculums. So she used three main curriculums in high school. The first one I'm going to talk about is for science. She used Apologia science for all of her science in high school. So she did biology her freshman year, she did chemistry her sophomore year, and she did physics her junior year. And I felt like since she was not going into a science or math field, that she didn't need a fourth year of science, so we didn't do one. We just did 3 years of science, and that was all using the Apologia science curriculum. For math, she used Math UC. She started using that way back in Alpha and worked her way all the way through calculus. And so for math, she did Algebra 2 her freshman year. She did pre-calculus her sophomore year. She did calculus her junior year. And I thought, I never even made it to calculus, so I don't think she needs to go above calculus, especially since she wasn't going into a science or math field. So we stopped at calculus her junior year, and she didn't do any math her senior year, so she had 3 years of math in, and it was all Math UC. And I actually had my dad, who was a public school math teacher, high school math teacher. He taught the AP courses. I had him kind of look over her shoulder and check out the Math UC textbooks for me and make sure that they were okay and they were academically challenging. And he gave us, 2 thumbs up for the curriculum. So that's what she used for math through high school. All of her other core subjects, believe it or not, were covered by one other curriculum, and that is Worldviews of the Western World, that is put out by Cornerstone Curriculum. This covered a lot. It is a 3-year course, but I tell you, I think it was either Worldview 2 or Worldview 3, so either the second or third year that really had a lot of work and could have been split up into 2 years. I'm gonna have to ask my daughter which year it was that was kind of weighty, that could have been split up into 2 years. But this really, credit-wise, covers almost 4 years of high school, honestly. So I went onto their website and printed out the just the credits that they suggest that you give for each of their courses, so that you get an idea of all of the stuff this Worldview curriculum covers. So I have my list here, and I'm just going to read through it. This is right off of their website, and then I will share with you what credits I actually gave my daughter for this course, because there was so much here that even though she did it and she could have got the credits, it would have looked totally crazy on a transcript, especially since I wanted her to have some other things on her transcript as well. So Worldview 1, which is the first year, it covered a quarter credit of composition. It covered a full credit of philosophy/theology, a quarter credit of Western civilization, a quarter credit of world history, 1 credit of ancient literature, and a quarter credit of humanities. Now, let me back up just a little bit before I move on to Worldview 2 and Worldview 3 and what credits they have. If you're not familiar with credits, 1 credit is a 1-year course. A half a credit would be 1 semester. So a quarter credit is kind of like half of 1 semester. But as you'll see, as she worked through Worldview 1, Worldview 2, and the third year, Worldview 3, those quarter credits end up coming together with another quarter credit to make either a half or full credit. So you don't end up with any really quarter credits on the transcript. It's just you're getting a little bit of the theology, you know, what was this? Like a quarter credit for world history. You're getting a quarter of world history the first year, but then you're going to get more world history throughout the other Worldview years of curriculum. Okay, so that was Worldview 1. Worldview 2, a half a credit for composition, 1 full credit for philosophy/theology, half a credit for art appreciation. So there's an elective right there. A half a credit for Western civilization, 1 full credit for American history, 1 full credit for political theory, 1 full credit for medieval literature, a half a credit for music appreciation, which again, another great elective, a half a credit for humanities, a half a credit for world history, 1 full credit for American government, and a half a credit for science history. Worldview 3 had a quarter credit for composition, 1 credit for philosophy theology, a half a credit for art appreciation, a quarter credit for Western civilization, 1 credit for American history, a half a credit for science origins, 1 full credit for modern literature, a half a credit for music appreciation, a quarter credit for humanities, a quarter credit for world history, and 1 credit for economics. So this course covered a lot. We used it for history, we used it for the English, you know, literature composition, we used it for Bible, theology, and we used it for some of her electives as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just flip through the high school course catalog that I created for my daughter to go along with her transcript. And if you're curious about that, let me know, and I will do a whole separate video on how I created a high school course catalog to go along with her transcript. But I'm going to flip through it and let you know what I ended up giving her credit for from the Worldview course. So when it came to English, the majority of her English was from the Worldview course. So I called one of the courses English 100, and she got a full credit for that. And that was solely using the Cornerstone curriculum, the Worldviews of the Western World curriculum from Cornerstone. So that was an English 100 course, I called it. And I'm just going to give you the course description if you're curious about what a course description is. But I wrote this: the student will become more proficient in expository writing using analytical and argumentative strategies in their own writing. The course will go over proofreading, editing, outlining, and summarizing. Compositions will critique the ideology and themes found in selected literature. So, fancy way of saying she did some composition and analyzed the literature she was reading. The other one, she got a full credit for ancient literature and composition. She also got a full credit for medieval literature and composition, another credit for modern literature and composition. And so that covered, for the most part, her English. She did take one kind of elective type English course, and I will share that with you in the other video. Let's see, I'm looking at math. That wasn't covered by Worldview. For social science, that was also covered by the Worldviews of the Western World. So she got 1 credit for world history, 1 full credit for American history. She got a half a credit for American government and civics, and then I gave her another half a credit for economics. And so that was just all from doing Worldviews of the Western World by Cornerstone. And then I gave her a full credit in Christian theology, and then another 1 credit in what I called Old and New Testament survey. And then for humanities, she got 1 full credit for philosophy, and then I gave her a half a credit for art history. I think she could have gotten more credits for art history, but to be honest, we kind of cut out that part of the curriculum. We didn't do all of the art stuff, so I felt like we did enough that she got a half a credit, but not a full credit. So those are all of the things. I think I'm just flipping through here really quickly. Yeah, that's all of the credits that she got with using the Worldview of the Western World's curriculum, which is a lot. I mean, all from one curriculum. So I was really happy with Worldview of the Western World. And I am hoping that my daughter might write a review of that curriculum for all of you. No pressure for you, sweetie, if you're watching this video, no pressure. But she used it, and so she was more familiar with it and the pros and cons. So I'm hoping she'll do that review for you guys on my blog, because I think that will be really helpful because it was a great curriculum. So kind of to recap, we used Apologia for science, Matthew C. for math, and then Worldview of the Western World by Cornerstone Curriculum for a big chunk of her other high school curriculum. The other curriculum that we did purchase is Foundations in Personal Finance, the high school edition for homeschoolers that's put out by Dave Ramsey. We used that as an elective for her, and it's something that I'm going to have all of my kids do in high school because it's just a really great course on teaching your kids the foundations of personal finance and how to be wise with your money. And then she also took Spanish classes from a local community college, and I throw that in there. It's kind of an elective. I'll talk about it when I talk about electives, but I did purchase curriculum for that. I had to purchase the Spanish curriculum from the local community college. So those are the curriculums that we used in the high school years to homeschool my high schooler. I've got more videos on homeschooling the high schooler coming your way. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye.